Yo guys, what's good? It's your boy Blank Online. Today, we're going to be talking about everything we know so far about the Call of Duty Modern Warfare campaign. This is the first video of a 3-part mini-series. We're going to go through campaign in this video. Next, we're going to be talking about multiplayer, and then we're going to be talking about co-op. Just a little lead up until Infinity Ward E3 panel, which is going on June 11th, so we got a bit of time until we get that. But for now, let's talk about everything we know about these 3 modes, starting off, as I said, with the campaign. So first, we'll start off with the official description for the campaign, and that is this. The stakes have never been higher as players take on the role of lethal Tier 1 operators in a heart-racing saga that will affect the global balance of power. Developed by the studio that started it all, Infinity Ward delivers an epic reimagining of the iconic Modern Warfare series from the ground up. In the most visceral and dramatic single-player story campaign, Call of Duty Modern Warfare pushes boundaries and breaks rules the only way Modern Warfare can. So it's kind of like a generic description of the campaign and of the game as a whole. I mean, like, it doesn't reveal too much, but what it does reveal is that is it not Task Force 141 that we be playing for in the campaign? It says of lethal Tier 1 operators. It doesn't specifically say Task Force 141. It could very well be, but I mean, like, it's just, yeah, it's not gonna be Task Force 141 from what we can dig into from this little description of the campaign. Moving on from that and talking about like the setting of the game, this game is not a sequel and it's not a prequel, so it's a brand new story with no connection or impact from the original Modern Warfare trilogy. So basically saying that this is a whole new thing. Which makes a lot of sense. Originally, when I first reacted to the trailer and I first looked at it, I was like, is this like in between games? Is this after Modern Warfare 3? Could this be before Modern Warfare? I mean, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Like, for me, I looked at it as either a continuation or a prequel, but it's come out that it's neither of those things, and it's a completely new story, which is dope, which means it opens up a lot of different possibilities for returning characters, which we'll get into in a second. The next thing that we know about this game is that the locations will include different places across Europe and the Middle East. So seemingly we're not going to get too many United States based combat. I'm sure we'll probably get like a US based mission, or soldiers from the US, like a team of soldiers from the US coming to Europe and the Middle East and fighting there. But it seems like this game is mostly taking inspiration from modern day terrorism, which makes sense in a way. It's just one of the main issues nowadays, so it looks like Infinity Ward is going to be tackling those in this game. Makes sense. Europe, Middle East, 2 places that haven't gotten too much representation in Call of Duty and in the Call of Duty franchise, Modern Warfare franchise so far, so it's going to be pretty dope to be playing in those different continents around the world. It says that the story is based around events that are happening in our world over the last few years. Again, fully honing in on that idea that we'll be looking at modern day terrorism and how that's affecting the world. And it seems like they're going to be taking some pretty big representation from real life events that have happened, which might prove to be controversial. I've heard that this campaign is like No Russian times a billion. Like, we're going to get some pretty controversial stuff in it, and I'm all for it. I'm all for pushing the boundary. I'm all for it. It's going to be pretty dope. Next up, we're going to be talking about the different types of people and the different groups we'll be seeing in this game. These are the confirmed 3 that we have so far. We got the Tier 1 operators, which is like a Task Force 141 that we spoke about earlier. You have your Arab soldiers and you have your rebel fighters. So the Arab soldiers and the rebel fighters, seemingly those will be taking place in the Middle East mostly, like the rebels fighting against the terrorism forces, and the Tier 1 operators will be the main people that we're following throughout both in the campaign across Europe and the Middle East. We know that Captain Price is returning, but there's a new voice actor for the role, so we're not going to be getting the same voice that we did in the original Modern Warfare trilogy. It could very well, it sounds exactly the same, so it doesn't matter that the actors changed. The voice of Captain Price still sounds the same, especially from what we heard in the trailers. Like, that's 100% Captain Price. So since Captain Price is returning again, can we see any other returning characters. We know that we'll be able to play this campaign from the Arab soldiers' perspective as well as the rebel fighters' perspective. So we're not only fighting for the good people, seemingly we're going to be playing this campaign from the perspective of the other factions as well. So not only the good side, the Arab soldiers, and potentially the bad side as well, which could be pretty dope. Let's talk about some returning characters as well. It's rumored that Soap might be returning in the game. In the reveal trailer, there was a little sizzle at the end where Captain Price says he's got some old friends that he's gonna bring back for this mission, or whatever mission that is. Could we be seeing the return of Soap, Ghost, Roach, anyone we've seen in Modern Warfare history is at play here? Because again, a whole new universe, a whole new story, so all dead characters are fair play. They're on the board, fair play to come back into this game. We know that this game is built on a new engine with new audio and animation support. It also features physically based materials system, allowing for state-of-the-art photo geometry, a new hybrid tile streaming system, new PBR decal rendering system, world volumetric lighting, 4K HDR, DirectX ray tracing for PCs with the RTX cards, and more, as well as a new GPU geometry pipeline is in. I don't know what the fuck any of that means, but it's here in the news, so I'm gonna be talking about it like I know what it means. New engine, and new engine means better graphics. So if you're a graphic whore, I'm not really a graphic whore, but like if you are, fair enough, like this game is gonna have everything for you. New engine, which is pretty dope to see. I mean, Call of Duty's been running on the same engine for years and years now. It's good to see that we're getting a new engine for this new installment of Modern Warfare. Then the second to last point I've got here is that campaign is going to be very emotional, with troubling with missions, pushing the boundaries of what's right and wrong. There's a couple of overview of missions that I'll get into after I go through these points. And the last thing, which is pretty interesting, is that progression in campaign will transfer between co-op and multiplayer. So the way they described it was that guns you use in campaign will all have levels, and the levels of those guns will transfer into multiplayer and then to co-op. So it's like it's all in continuity. Like everything you do on each 3 of the modes will affect the other 2. So like if you're playing multiplayer and you rank up your guns, those guns will be ranked up in campaign, those guns will be ranked up in co-op. Like it's just one continuous system for you, so like you're not leveling up the same things in each different game modes, which is what we've seen in previous Call of Duties. To finish off the video, I'll be talking about the 2 overviews of the missions that we've seen so far. So first of all, this is one of the missions. It's a London/Navy SEAL raid mission. So the campaign, this mission is going to be set in October 2019. So we're going to see, as the game releases, modern day this year and next year and whatever. It's a modern day game, literally set in the year that the game comes out. So that mission starts in the streets of London as a British police officer is approaching a suspicious vehicle. This mission is seemingly going to be the mission we saw in the trailer, where there's like officers in the streets and there's some terrorists causing some havoc, and it's up to you to kind of fix that, I guess. It's a whole thing. And there's another mission that's a flashback mission, which gives a look at 2 rebel fighters that are part of the game and why they became rebel fighters, and these fighters will connect with Captain Price throughout the entire story. It looks to be set around 20 years ago, so around 1999 to 2000 in my perspective, and like in my opinion and in my kind of speculation of this whole thing. Possibly could be linked with the 9/11 attacks, which happened in 2001, where this whole terrorism thing started. It looks like it's going to be pretty deep cut, this campaign, which is pretty dope. Like, I'm cool with seeing like the future shit, I'm cool with seeing like some history war shit, but like getting back to that modern day, it's going to be pretty interesting, especially nowadays, right? So the last Modern Warfare game we got was Modern Warfare 3. And that tackled the issue of World War III. It touched upon terrorist stuff, but it was mostly like Russians versus America, which has been done for years and years and years. And we haven't really gotten a full-on focus on terrorism game. Like, we haven't really gotten that in the Call of Duty franchise, so it's gonna be super dope to see what Infinity Ward does with this concept, because it's a pretty like touchy subject. Like, don't get me wrong, this whole campaign looks like it's gonna be a pretty like opinion dividing one. It's gonna be something that it's gonna be talked about, like how No Russian was talked about. Because if you guys don't know, No Russian was essentially a mission where you played as a Russian terrorist and you shot innocent people throughout an airport. That was that mission, and it got so much controversy. Everyone was saying how disgusting it was and how wrong it was to allow people and children as well to play as someone and gunning down innocent people. Even though it was a video game, just the fact that you could act out this terrorism act. With the idea and with the notion that you can play on both sides of the coin in this campaign, it seems like they're going to be pushing the boundaries of what's right and wrong, not only for the story and not only for the characters within the story, but for the people playing it as well. Like you and I, people are going to be playing through this campaign, like, is what we're doing right? Like in No Russian, you can choose to go throughout that whole mission without shooting one person. The story ends up being the story anyway. It's that kind of like morals thing, really, and I think that's what Infinity Ward is going to play on mostly in this campaign, and I'm super excited. I love Call of Duty campaigns, except Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3's campaign was shit, but I usually love Call of Duty campaigns, and I love the Infinity Ward ones. Even Ghost had a dope campaign in my opinion. So from what it looks like in this one, we're going to get a really good one. Yeah, man. That's all I've got for you guys today. If you guys want to read the full overview of the campaign missions, we have 2 of them. I'll leave a link in the description down below so you guys can have a full read of them. They're pretty lengthy and pretty detailed. So if you want to read all about that, again, links in the description down below. Let me know what you guys think about the campaign so far, because personally, I think the campaign is looking pretty dope. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Click subscribe because it helps me out a bunch. Stay tuned for the next 2 parts of this mini series, as well as any other Modern Warfare content we'll be posting up, because we're going in and I'm super excited for this game. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.